Okay, but that's not all. Up next, we have Ignacio, and I think these fun facts will make you think that this might be a good story. In middle school, he spent hours crafting a parachute for his hamster, which failed to open when he launched it from his apartment building's rooftop. Appreciate the courage. It's the rule, right? That's dark. Soon after, a kitchen chemistry experiment went awry, resulting in his house burning down. The house burned down. And now, after all that, he creates pink robots featuring heart-shaped eyes that deliver food via sidewalks. That's quite a journey. Give it up for him.
Hello. So let me take you back to 2018. I should first say that my biggest fear in life is to die without leaving a mark. And so I was very excited in 2018 when I got a job in Canada to build autonomous cars. That was super important to me. A lot of people die, a million people die every year in in car accidents, and it's the biggest cause of death for people between 5 and 29. So I thought that was a great job to have. And so I left Argentina. I said goodbye to my parents. I gave them all my savings except 200 bucks. So I moved to Canada with only that. And it was a really bad idea because I didn't have money to buy a jacket for the first 2 weeks until I got my paycheck. But I survived. I survived winter somehow. And after a few months, I go to the office one day, and a therapist comes and tells me that we're doing group therapy. And I was like, that's a weird tech thing that you do Monday mornings, I guess. But actually, what have happened is that we have killed a person the night before in Arizona. And so this was the first fatality by an autonomous car. Um, and it was pretty obvious at the time that we were going to shut down. So this was a big project. It was 1,500 people, billions of dollars per year. And but I thought it was still something very important to solve. But basically, the issue was that we needed to put more autonomous cars on the streets to collect more data and make them safe. But doing that was inherently risky. Like there was no way we could guarantee that something like this wouldn't happen again. And so I thought it was a very big loss to just put all this work on the garbage. So I was trying to find a solution to this problem, and I had this very dumb idea that became my company. And so the dumb idea was that if you could make these autonomous cars so small, so tiny, that they would be inherently safe, then we could put millions of them out, and they would be safe, and then you could make them a notch bigger, a notch faster, and until you have something that could carry people again. And so that was the vision, and this was the first prototype. And so we had them in Toronto, and they work well. So we are, after a few years, now we have customers, people are using it, everything's exciting. And so we go and fundraise money. And oh my God, I hate fundraising. And it's like being ugly than me and trying to date. Like, it's not good. You just get rejected all the time. And so after months of rejections, we get an email on a Saturday morning of someone saying, we're in. And I was like the happiest guy in the world. I was so happy. Because I was so afraid of failing, right? Like, I knew the odds were against me. And if you fail, the people who have been working on building this thing for years, like all their effort is wasted again. And if you have 20 people working for 4 years, that's like 80 years wasted. And so there's no even a way to repay that on your lifetime. So I was super afraid of that. Anyways, I'm super happy now because now people want to give us money. And so the paperwork starts. And that usually takes a few weeks to a few months. But this is Fuckup Night, so things are gonna get real now. And the first thing that happens is that we get a lawsuit. So a Toronto man says that he tried to avoid the robot and he hurts his lower back. I'll say that's kind of suspicious. I asked, like, when did this happen? He doesn't remember. Very suspicious. I spoke with some lawyers, and we learned that this person makes a living out of suing companies. So I'm like, fuck this guy. We're not paying him the 20K that he wants. Like, even if we had to pay 100K in lawyers, like, he's not seeing a penny from me. Well, it turns out that 2 weeks later, we learned that he went and spoke to City Council in Toronto. He tells a story about how intimidating these machines are. And he actually convinces the councillor to pass a motion to ban us. And so now we have a week to try to revert this motion. There's a week until all 25 councils need to vote. And so I somehow become a politician. I still can't believe this is happening. I was so happy about the race, and now all this shit is going on. Anyways, I become a politician. The news love this, so Toronto Stars puts an article every day, blog TO, we're on the news, radio shows, super weird time. I'm just like building robots. I don't know how to talk to people. I don't understand what's going on. So we get a chance to speak with John Tory. We say, John, this is everything you want for Toronto. We've done 2 loops around the world of mileage in Toronto, no accidents except what this guy says. It's 0 emissions. It's good for the merchants. We have all these testimonials that were beautiful from people with disabilities, say that they regain independence by getting deliveries for free. And so it was perfect, but he did not care at all. And so it's the day before the voting. We're desperate. So we talked to him again, and we said, John, if you ban us, we're going to go to Ottawa. If we go to Ottawa, it's going to look really bad on you. And then he freaked out. That was the right message. Believe it or not, I thought Argentina was corrupt. It's like, check Toronto Council. Anyways, he speaks to all the councillors the day before. He convinces the majority, so we're about to win. I could finally breathe again. I turn on the TV to see the voting, and we lose 25-0. So I'm like, what the heck just happened? And so I find out that another councillor, Jennifer McKelvey, the one who passed the motion in first place, tells John Tory about this amazing idea in which they're going to do this innovation challenge, invite all companies of the world and show how innovative Toronto is, and that they wouldn't ban robots, they just were going to allow them at the Canadian National Exhibition, where there's nobody leaving and no deliveries to be done. Little problem. And so now we're fucked up because we don't have the money in the bank yet. Investors are still doing the paperwork. And now we have 0 customers. We're not operating anywhere. And we have a few months until we run out of money. And now, things are fucked up. So we tried to go to Ottawa, and the truck convoy is happening at that time. Pretty bad time to go there. So immediately you tell us to get the fuck out. Then we go to Mississauga. I was like, come on, it's Mississauga. We should be able to do it there. And no offense if anybody from Mississauga. And we go there, they seem excited, and then they said, let me double check with some people from transportation that we know in Toronto. They check, and they said, sorry, we don't want you there. And so we need to go to the US and try to rebuild the business. So we end up going to Miami. Now we're running out of money. And now a bit of a personal fuck up happens. And so turns out that my visa, so I had a working visa by my old employer. I'm not working there anymore. And now I'm all over the news with this shit. And I'm not allowed to work, let alone run a company. And so things like traveling becomes complicated, to say the least. And things get even worse after that. So I'm, working my ass now for months. Fundraising takes 6 months. Trying to resolve the building takes months as well. And then my dad gets really sick. He's in Argentina. So I go to take care of him. So I'm taking care of him for a month. So that means I'm in the hospital for 12 hours. My mom is with another 12 hours. And when I'm not in the hospital, I'm working. And so it's weeks and weeks of this until he finally passes away. And things are complicated. Companies going bankrupt. Families not doing well. But I just couldn't stop, I just couldn't give up. I don't know how I did it. I didn't think I could do it. But I remember just like leaving the funeral at 11 a.m., doing an all hands at noon, just trying to compartmentalize. And then I stay another month in Argentina, just doing all the things that have to be done. My mom and my sister were devastated. There's a lot of paperwork and things that you have to do when that happens. And then I was finally able to come back. I was finally able to, to cry. Just like it was nice to be able, those were my first few cries, just waking up every morning crying. But I felt like most of the stuff was, behind. And yeah, today is 1 year exactly since my dad passed away. And I have some good news as far as I can be. Thank you. So I was forgiven by a judge and I was given a permanent residency so I can travel. So I went last month home and I taught my mom how to drive. She got her driver's license at 70 years old. So we're very happy. I thought it was so beautiful that she's regaining her independence after 50 years of being in a relationship. And the business is doing really well. So we're able to raise close to 10 million. We're in Miami now. We have tons of robots. So that's exciting. And that's my story.
Wow. I told you that was going to be good. Do we have any questions for our friend?